It took Justin Trudeau 54 days to get to this point, from the day this story first appeared in the Globe and Mail to the expulsion of two former cabinet ministers.
I made the difficult decision to remove Ms. Wilson-Raybould and Dr. Philpott from the Liberal caucus.
It's a decision they worked for weeks behind the scenes to avoid. Over the course of the secret discussions, it became clear that Wilson-Raybould had at least 5 conditions. The first 3 were staff changes at the very top of government. Sources say Wilson-Raybould wanted Trudeau to fire his principal secretary, Gerald Butts, the clerk of the Privy Council, Michael Wernick, and PMO senior advisor, Mathieu Bouchard. Sources say Wilson-Raybould made this clear to the Prime Minister and his staff in a series of conversations in Vancouver in the days before she quit cabinet. Butts was never fired. He resigned of his own accord despite testifying he never pressured Wilson-Raybould. Wernick announced his retirement after intense criticism of his testimony at the Justice Committee. Bouchard remains in the PMO. Sources say the final 2 conditions went beyond staff changes. Wilson-Raybould sought assurances that new Attorney General David Lametti would not direct prosecutors to give SNC-Lavalin a deferred prosecution agreement. And she wanted the Prime Minister to admit, either to caucus or in public, that his office acted inappropriately in its attempts to convince her to consider granting SNC-Lavalin a DPA. All of this came up in weeks of a secret back and forth between the two sides. The Prime Minister and his Chief of Staff, Katie Telford, were the point people. They scrambled MPs they believed to be close to Wilson-Raybould and Philpott to help the talks. The Liberal BC caucus, including cabinet ministers, was heavily involved in reaching out.
There have been so many conversations going on amongst caucus members, amongst regional caucuses, with Ms. Wilson-Raybould, with Ms. Philpott.
Sources say the efforts continued until Monday, the day before the caucus expulsion. But by that point, it was clear a compromise was almost impossible.
Hello.
Hello, Michael. It's Jody.
Hi, sorry about the phone tag.
That's okay.
The Friday release of Wilson-Raybould's secret recording of her conversation with Wernick obliterated an already fractured trust with much of the Liberal caucus.
Okay, obviously we've tried to get some reaction to all of this news tonight. David, what are you hearing?
Yeah, Rosie, we reached out to the Prime Minister's office, and I spoke with Kate Purchase, his Executive Director of Communications. She says that Jody Wilson-Raybould at no point issued a formal series of ultimatums to the government, but beyond that, she would not comment on the private conversations that Trudeau had with Wilson-Raybould or anyone else throughout this entire process. We've also heard from Jody Wilson-Raybould tonight. In an email, we put the specifics of our reporting to her looking for reaction. She replied with a simple no comment.
Okay, more to come. Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Welcome.